Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What up, you turkeys? Welcome to episode 132 of the Raging Takes podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. I'm your host, Brian Dixon, joined, as always, by my co-host, Kai the Commissioner Zabo. Hello, how are you doing?
Salutations, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Salutations to yourself, sir. No Dylan today. He will be back on Saturday, which means no he hate me, unfortunately. Best segment of the show, in my opinion. No he hate me this week, though. We'll have to wait for next week.
I was going to say at this point, it's like kicking a dead horse for him. You know, he's already out of the playoffs in both leagues. His real life team stinks.
He can find some more hatred in his heart, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it does a heart well to get some hatred in there every once in a while. Anyway, we got actually some big NFL news. Maybe not big, but a lot of it on this episode. And we'll go over the Week 15 review. We're going to start with the raging question of the day, though. We were going to talk about the Lions. I figure they'll come up later on in the episode anyway, so we're going to talk about them no matter what. This was an interesting topic that I didn't actually hear on the broadcast, but I read about it afterwards. Troy Aikman on Monday Night Football suggested that the Bears should attempt to make a trade for Kyle Shanahan to become their next head coach. This would have been better with Dylan on it, but I still think that you and I could talk about this and give some good opinions here. Would you trade for Kyle Shanahan if you were Chicago? Now, keep in mind, we're talking probably like a first round pick. I would assume.
I think that's too heavy of a price personally. But I mean, in theory, the move is pretty good. I mean, we know Kyle Shanahan can develop a quarterback. But the reality is the Bears need some offensive line help more than anything, and they really need to address that in the draft. And also, it's just not going to happen anyways because as far as I know, John Lynch, the 49ers GM, from what I know, he likes Kyle Shanahan. Apparently, he was upset by the hot seat rumors all season long. So, I mean, this move isn't going to be feasible. But of course, in theory, I think it could be good for the Bears to get a coach like that in there. But first round pick is still too heavy of a price for my blood.
I think I'm with you with the first round pick because, like, a coach like Kyle Shanahan, I mean, they don't grow on trees, obviously, right? I think we both agree that he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's still a young guy. I mean, he can obviously develop the quarterback. So in theory, I don't think the Bears would be worse off if they gave up a first round pick for him. But still, I just think that's a little too steep for a team that has so many holes. Now, if this was like a team, maybe like a step up from them, like, you know, just a rung up on the ladder where they have an offensive line already in set. They have like all these different things already figured out. There's just so much dysfunction there that I don't know if you can just slap a head coach Band-Aid on this team and call it good, you know? So I'm with you. I think if the cost was a first round pick, which no one said that's just me assuming. If that were to be the cost, I don't think I would do it. What if it was like a second rounder? Would you think about it for a second rounder? I think I might think about it for a second.
Absolutely. I mean, because there are some good bones on this team that could be a good roster someday. You know, they do have a good offense in place. They do have some good bright spots on that young defense as well, too. So I think, you know, I see the vision of Kyle Shanahan coming over and it already being a better product. But like I said, at the end of the day, there are still some major holes on this roster.
Yeah, you're right. They need to just use like the first few picks on like O-line. I mean, there's so many other, like you could obviously help the defense. The defense isn't horrible, don't get me wrong, but they definitely need some help there too. So yeah, it's probably just better off just hoping that you can find the next Kyle Shanahan instead of the current Kyle Shanahan. And that won't cost you anything except for, you know, a buttload of money. So yeah, I think you just take the chance, try to hire outside, get like a Ben Johnson, get a Mike Vrabel, get somebody that caliber, use the first round pick on an offensive tackle, and then good to go from there.
I mean, you don't have to use a first round pick on a guy like Mike Vrabel, you know?
Definitely not.
Yeah. So
okay. Good talk there. Let's get to the NFL news. Few items to discuss. The first one happened this morning. Budda Baker and the Cardinals reached an agreement on a 3-year, $54 million contract extension, $30 million guaranteed. This is a no-brainer for me. Budda Baker is a great player. He's their best defensive player by like a mile. Yeah, this is a no doubter for me.
Yeah, no doubter as well. Yeah, leader on the defense, still pretty young as well. Just a cornerstone guy you want to keep around.
In 14 games this season, 14 starts, he has 142 combined tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 passes defended. So
not bad.
I mean, 142 tackles is fantastic. So good for the Cardinals, good for Budda Baker. Next up, Max Crosby, out for the season after undergoing ankle surgery. Apparently, he'd been playing through the injury since week 2, but it got re-aggravated in week 14. So, I mean, it takes a lot to get that guy out of the lineup. So I imagine this is a pretty tough injury. It's a lost season. Yeah,
no-brainer.
Definitely a no-brainer. Hopefully Max gets back stronger than ever next year, and hopefully the Raiders have at least a little bit more of a competitive roster on the field. And make a goddamn coaching change again, please, for the love of God. Next up, Devondre Campbell officially suspended the final 3 games of the season by the 49ers. His locker has already been cleaned out, so I think that is all you need to know about that situation. I do not expect Campbell to play another snap for this team. I'm sure somebody will scoop him up, but I mean, do you really want somebody like that that's just going to quit on your team because he got a little angry? I don't know. That's going to be, I'm sure a lot of people are going to turn their noses up at Devondre Campbell in the offseason, but he will find a home, I think.
I think so too. I mean, we see so many examples of people taking in these problem guys, potential head cases, and, just trying to make it work because, you still can't pass on the talent sometimes.
Very true. And there's going to be like a bad team that just needs a body on the field too, or something like that doesn't really care about shit like that. So, because he'll have probably a starting spot for a bad team no matter what, because he's a good player. So, yeah, he'll find a spot. Chiefs released Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know he's been dealing with some mental stuff this year, PTSD and whatnot. Just a tough scene. I don't really know what the reasoning for. I mean, obviously you can kind of assume, but I don't know if it was like he asked for his release or the Chiefs were just like, we got to get you on the field. If you're not going to be on the field, we got to let you go. I don't really know the specific details, but if he's still struggling, hopefully he finds the help that he needs and gets back onto the field in the future. Because, he's definitely not as good of a player as like the draft capital per se, but he's made some plays for them over the years. Like he's definitely rosterable. He could definitely have, a couple more years left in him, I would say.
I mean, do I dare say that maybe he could still become that player we might think he might be still with another team? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, a change of scenery helps a lot of people sometimes, so I wouldn't doubt it. In his career, 48 games, he has 1,800 yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground, at least, not to mention any receiving stats that he has, which I don't have ready right now. Oh, he has 89 catches for 765 yards in his career. So,
yeah, who knows?
I'm sure some touchdowns here. It doesn't tell me any touchdowns, but
someone will pick him up, though, I think.
I think so, too. As long as he wants to play football, I think somebody will give him another shot. And finally, this is just expected, I guess, but the Ravens and Deontay Johnson have mutually agreed to excuse him from team activities this week. So I don't know if that sort of like leaves the door open for him to maybe come be with the team and actually participate at some point. But I don't know. The writing on the wall seems like he probably isn't going to play much more for the Ravens. I don't know. What do you think?
Kind of just sounds like he's just completely unhappy with the team. He's probably going to test free agency next season, so maybe this is just him keeping his body healthy until then.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm sure if he's going to be like a big jerk, the Ravens don't want him around either. So that's where the mutual agreement comes into play, I'm sure. All right, let's get to week 15. We got a lot of games to talk about here. First up, the standings update. Kai, number 1 still, the best of the 3 of us this week, 13-3 record this week. He's 145-79 overall. 3 games up. You got 3 games up on Dylan just this week, so you're now 6 up on him. He went 10-6 this week, second best of the 3 of us. I had a bad week. 139-85 for Dylan, and then now I'm 3 back of Dylan and 9 back of you after going 9-7 this week. 136-88 is my record. Not looking good for the Bry man. I'll tell you that much. We only got a few more weeks to go. Not looking good, but we're gonna keep fighting.
I mean, we still do playoffs and Super Bowl too, so plenty of chances.
I separated the playoffs last year. We did it just.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So this is a regular season only.
Okay, got it.
So, All right. First up, 2 Monday Night Football games this week. Falcons 15, the Raiders 9. They don't even deserve it.
You say that every time, and you still do it.
That was a half-assed one, though. I should say maybe they do deserve it because they
almost
won this
yeah.
game, and I wanted them to lose, so they did exactly what I wanted them to do. I actually thought they were going to win. At the end, I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. They were going to accidentally win this game. We actually have big news out of this game too. We'll get to it in a second. I don't even know if Kai,
by the way.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if Kai
I forgot to add it.
Had known this. No, I already added it.
Well, I just saw like 5 minutes ago. It's confirmed now, but we'll get to it.
It was confirmed already. Anyway, okay. Kirk 11 for 17, 112 yards, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, not his worst numbers, but definitely not ideal there. And the offense just looked stagnant. He could not move around in the pocket at all. I think there was like there was a stat that I read that they only passed one time on first down in this game, and it was an interception. It was the Kirk Cousins interception. So they ran the ball on first down every other first down. Just weird game planning around this guy. Anyway, he's been benched. If you haven't heard already, Michael Penix will be the starter next week. Bijan Robinson 22 for 125 in this game. I mean, he was just lighting the Raiders defense up. He looked really good. Drake London 3 for 53 and the lone touchdown. Kyle Pitts 4 for 28. And then Desmond Ridder 23 of 39 for 208, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I mean, was just not very good. He was just dumping it down to the running back or a lot of short passes. Just really uninspiring football being played by Desmond Ridder, but I guess we didn't really expect much. It wasn't much of a revenge game factor there for Ridder. Sincere McCormick out for the season, got injured early in this game. I want to say first quarter. So he is done for the year. It's kind of sucks for him. He was showing some promise there. It's like one of the bright spots of the Raiders team to kind of watch out for the rest of the season. He's done. Madison in relief, 7 for 21, also fumbled the ball in this game. Jacoby Myers 5 for 59. All of that came in the fourth quarter. Raiders receivers had 0 catches entering the fourth quarter, Kai.
That's
0 receptions combined entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't watch this game. You couldn't waterboard me to do it.
It was not a fun watch. It was kind of like I had both games on, just like side TVs, keeping an eye on it. Neither one of them were a fun watch at all. Brock Bowers was 3 for 35. Amir Abdullah, 7 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Honestly, Amir Abdullah, he makes plays when he's out there. Like he's not like a starting running back caliber player in the NFL, but when you throw him out there, he makes plays that like Madison does not, and neither did Zamir White. So I would like to see Amir Abdullah get some more play, I guess. We're burying the lead here. Let's talk about Michael Penix. What do you expect now the rest of the season from Michael Penix and the Falcons?
Well,
I guess fantasy. I know there's only a couple more weeks left.
There's 3. I was going to say there's 3 weeks left. This kind of curtails to a raging take that I have. So
sure.
I think Michael Penix with this 3-game schedule coming up, because I really do like Michael Penix. He's one of my favorite players or favorite quarterbacks coming out of the draft. But I think Michael Penix will win out the rest of the schedule, take the Falcons into the playoffs.
You think he's going to win out, huh? Okay,
yeah,
so who do they play?
Check out their
schedule game here. Yep.
Giants.
Okay.
Commanders. Very winnable, in my opinion, if Penix looks all right. And then the Panthers.
I think Washington gets them, but the other 2 I think are very winnable for sure.
Okay, so if you think Washington gets them, that still puts them at 9-7. Tampa's at
9-8, right? It'd be
9-6. Oh yeah, 9-8. Yes.
And then what's Tampa's last 3?
Tampa's last 3 are the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints.
I mean, they should probably go 3-0.
Yeah, right. Or I don't know though.
Falcons waited just a little too long. I think maybe just a little too long.
I think the Saints could upset the Bucs, but that's just me.
I mean, so basically, the Falcons have the tiebreaker because they swept the Bucs, so they just have to tie them. So if they go 3-0, that means Tampa's got to go 2-1, and Atlanta wins the division, right?
Actually,
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Tampa would need to lose 2 out of their last 3 if the Falcons do go 2-1.
If the Falcons go 3-0, though, is what you're saying. Your raging take is that they go 3-0.
Yeah,
so if the Falcons go 3-0, Tampa then has to go 2-1.
Yep.
So they just need one of those teams to lose. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna side with Tampa here, but we have seen Tampa kind of play down with their opponents at times too this year. I mean, they got swept by the Falcons twice, for God's sakes. Let's say Tampa. I think we both agree that Tampa is, on paper at least, the better team of the two. If let's say Tampa wins both of those games, like maybe they should have. Atlanta's 5-9 right now. Tampa's 10-6. Like those could turn out to be like humongous games in the grand scheme of things. And those were the two games that Kirk Cousins really balled out in. Remember that he had a 500-yard passing performance that one game. So it'll be interesting. Maybe not fun to see what happens here in the NFC South, but it's going to be interesting. I guess it will be fun with Michael Penix, actually.
Obviously, my raging take needs help, but I really do believe in Michael Penix. I think he's ready. I
mean, could they make the wild card even if they go? They would really need some help here. Because Minnesota and Green Bay really messes things up. They would have to beat Washington.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. So
I mean, let's say, but if they beat Washington in that game, that actually is a huge game, Atlanta and Washington. Didn't they just flex that to Sunday Night Football too? I think they did.
Yeah, so they would really need the Commanders and the Seahawks to kind of lose out almost, or lose a number of games.
They would need the Commanders to lose. They would have to beat the Commanders, and then would hope that Washington loses another game too, which Washington could very well lose to Philly this week. So if Atlanta wins that game, they actually do have a chance to make that wild card spot over Washington.
Yeah, so
that's big. That's big. Yeah, that last spot actually might have some more drama to it than we think. Seattle's still hanging around there too. Seattle / the Rams, I guess. Okay. Yeah, for Penix, for me at least, he was definitely one of my favorite quarterback prospects too this year. I was kind of hoping that the Raiders would snag him. Didn't work out that way, obviously. So I am excited to see what he has on the field. I would have been excited from week 1 this year if the Falcons didn't make that crazy signing. I'm excited to see how he does with Mooney and Drake London, and maybe even Kyle Pitts, dare I say. It should be a fun ride the rest of the way. Even if the Falcons look bad with him, it'll just still be fun to see what the kid has in the last 3 games of the year against, like you said, winnable opponents.
Yeah, it's not the toughest schedule to roll a rookie out for his first action. Okay.
Other Monday night game, Vikings 30, Bears 12. Did you catch this one at all?
I watched some, yeah. I chose this one over the other one, obviously. So
it was a good choice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The Vikings clinched a playoff berth. I think they clinched it before the game even started, so it wasn't just because of the win. Darnold struggles. Does enough to win, though. 24-40, 231, touchdown and a pick. Not bad. Aaron Jones, 18 for 86, the bear killer himself. Dylan's always got PTSD when it comes to Aaron Jones. Cam Akers, 10 for 24. They both score touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 7 for 73 and a touchdown. Addison, 7 for 63. Hawk, 5 for 52. Passing attack, pretty on point. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Then for the Bears, Caleb Williams, he was kind of struggling. 18 for 31, 191, a touchdown, a lost fumble. Aikman was talking on the broadcast about Caleb too, how defeated he looks. And Troy Aikman's like, listen, I've been there before. I think he had a season where they went 3-13 or something his rookie year. He threw a bunch of picks. He's like, I had a season just like that where I played way worse than Caleb Williams and I turned out just fine. So, he's kind of just like, you give Caleb some time and he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I agree with him. I think Caleb looked pretty good. I mean, he still hasn't thrown a pick in 8 games, right?
It's been a while. I mean, he did lose a fumble, which is, same thing basically, but still though. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't really been throwing a lot of interceptions lately, if at all. So I still believe in Caleb Williams. They just got to get some better coaches in there. Swift 19 for 79, Keenan Allen 6 for 82 and a touchdown. Also had a 6 sideline catch too. You can still play. DJ Moore 8 for 46, a lot of short passes and whatnot in DJ Moore's game right now in Chicago.
Yeah, I do think Keenan Allen can still play. I would not be shocked if the Bears try him out another year.
I personally would not if I were them, but I don't think it's the worst idea. I'm just saying I think I would focus more on Moore and Adunze, but I wouldn't judge them for doing that because honestly, looks like Caleb Williams trusts him a lot too. It seems like, I don't want to say he's his favorite target, but it does seem like he is his most reliable target. So,
yeah.
Not really much to talk about here. The Vikings are still great. The Bears are really bad. I think that the Vikings are. I mean, this is a good team beating up a bad team, but I do think the Vikings are be interesting come playoff time.
I mean, dude, they're tied for the number 1 seed right now in the NFC. So,
do they? Yeah, they have the same record as the Lions. Yeah, that's crazy. And the Eagles.
Yeah, 3-way tie for number 1.
Wow, that's crazy. That's gonna be a bloodbath coming down the wire here.
Yeah.
Do the Lions? We may have talked about this before. Do the Lions and Vikings play each other again?
I believe they do. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a great game. Great game. Okay. Another NFC North team, Sunday Night Football, Packers 30, Seahawks 13. This was a statement win by Green Bay going into Seattle and just kicking their asses, dude. And the Seahawks have been looking really good lately, too, and it just did not matter. Green Bay's like, no, we're still the better team. Jordan Love, 20 of 27, 229 and 2. Great numbers for him. Jacobs, 29 for 94 and a touchdown and 4 catches for 42 yards. You'll definitely take that. Fantasy owners loving Josh Jacobs right now. Romeo Doubs, 3 for 40 and 2. Watson was 3 for 56, Reed 5 for 34. Nothing really going for either of those guys. For the Seahawks, Geno Smith went 15 for 19 for 149 and a pick, but then left with a knee injury. The Seahawks said that it's structurally intact. His status for next week is up in the air. They sound encouraged that he'll play, but I don't know. They kind of need him because Sam Howell in relief was just absolute dog shit. 5 for 14, 24 yards and an interception. I mean, it's just night and day difference. Geno Smith has to be the starter if the Seahawks want to try to make the playoffs. You can't rush him out there if his knee's not intact. So, obviously that I'm not saying that you force him to play, but they kind of need him to play if they want to make the playoffs, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's tough.
Charbonnet 8 for 54 and a touchdown. JSN 10 for 83. JSN is just their wide receiver 1 now. DK has just disappeared. So, I mean, I still like DK as a talent, but I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. And JSN looks, fantastic. Him and Geno have chemistry down to a point. They're so fun to watch together.
Yeah, it's just the play styles. So, JSN, I think, was always going to surpass DK at some point just because JSN is that guy that's going to be catching, like 10 plus targets a game because of the way he plays.
Where does Jason go in drafts next year? He's going to go pretty high, right? Second round? I'm thinking second round.
I was kind of thinking like third, maybe. I don't know.
Third? I was just thinking of some of the turds that went in the second round this year. Not turds, but like just some of the guys that aren't playing as good as JSN is right now went in the second round wide receiver wise.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes up next offseason. When players change teams, guys are going to go up and down in draft value, move guys up, etc.
Are the Packers the best third place team of all time? Third place in their division? Like this is just, they've been so screwed by the division that they're in this year. Like if they were in obviously not the NFC East, the Eagles are probably the better team there, obviously. But if they were in the West or South, they'd be running away with their division right now easily. And they're just stuck in the NFC North where they're just like still fighting for a playoff spot. I think they're going to be fine, obviously, but
yeah,
you never know. Or have they actually made the playoffs? No, I don't think they've clinched the playoffs.
No, not yet. I was going to say, off the top of my head, I can't think of too many situations where there's been like a division with 3 really good teams. But I would say the Packers are probably the best third place team in their division I've ever seen.
There was one year in the NFC East, like way back in the day, where Washington finished 4th and they were like 8-8. So I think there was a year where like the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys all did really good.
Yeah, that was.
I think it was a long time ago, or there might be another one, but the one I'm thinking about was like when we were kids. I want to say like 2008ish.
Well, I was gonna say that actually happened recently with the NFC East. Yeah, that was when the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles made it, and the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
that was the year where Daniel Jones won the wild card game, right? Okay, yep. Yeah. All right, well, let's just talk about the Eagles then. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off here. Eagles 27, Steelers 13.
What Band-Aid?
I got a Band-Aid here. Jalen Hurts dominates 25 for 32, 290 and 2 and a rushing touchdown. He also has a broken finger on his left hand, so we'll see if that comes into anything here.
He had it during that game. Yeah, he had it before the game. Yeah. So, he looked fine.
He showed up with a splint on his finger for all the cameras to see.
Yeah, he looked fine.
This might have been his best game of the year, honestly. So
passing wise, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, he opened up his press conference after the game too. It was like, "Oh, that's what y'all wanted to see, or whatever, right?" Because we're connecting. He's got to work on his shit talk. I don't know. He's not a very good shit talker.
I mean, he's kind of like, feels a little introverted to me sometimes.
He's a little too stoic to be a shit talker. I feel like.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
You gotta add some personality to your voice when you're talking shit. I think.
He's a Marcus Aurelius, man. That ain't no problem.
Sure. Saquon, 19 for 65. Got injured in this game a little bit, though, right? Kenneth Gainwell was.
Yeah, he got a lot of play.
A lot. Yeah.
I think it was just cautionary. I think they want to, please keep Saquon healthy before the playoffs. Yeah. So.
Yeah. AJ Brown, 8 for 110 and a touchdown. I did want to bring this up too. The Steelers, this is from Hayden Winks on Twitter. The Steelers D went man coverage for 16 snaps in this game, and Hurts targeted Brown 8 times in those 16 plays. AJ Brown went 6 for 89 and a touchdown against man coverage. So good on the Eagles. It seems like they were expecting something like that. It seems like Jalen Hurts was expecting man coverage, and when he saw it, he was like, "Okay, get the ball to AJ Brown." Kind of what people have been wanting, fantasy owners and Eagles fans alike. So. Mm-hmm. That connection's looking good. Devontae Smith had an even better game, 11 for 109 and a touchdown. So the Eagles are firing on all cylinders right now. This was a close game at a time, though. I think it was, 20-13, late in the third quarter. And then somebody fumbled, did Najee fumble? Was it a Najee fumble then?
It was a Najee fumble.
And then it kind of just, gave the ball to the Eagles. And then the Eagles were dominating time of possession, too. Did you see the stats on that?
No, I can pull it up, though.
The Eagles' time of possession was 39 minutes and 52 seconds, which is twice as long as the Steelers. It's a 60-minute game. Steelers only had 20 minutes and 8 seconds. The Eagles ended the game with a drive of 10 minutes and 29 seconds, held the ball for 24 minutes in the second half compared to only 5 minutes and 50 seconds for the Steelers. So the Steelers basically didn't have the ball at all in the second half. So honestly, I'm the biggest Eagles hater in the world. Good on them. That was a very impressive win. Yeah. Sirianni basically just completely outcoached Tomlin, which is hard to do. So, I don't want to give too much props to the Eagles, but I'm giving them props for that one. That was probably the win of the year for them.
Oh, absolutely. Just time of possession, clock game, and good defense. It doesn't get any simpler than that.
For the Steelers, Russ went 14 of 22 for 128 and a touchdown. The Eagles defense just nasty, can't do anything against him, and obviously he didn't have the ball at all in the second half, so that's going to hurt too. Najee was the leading rusher, 6 carries for 14 yards. That's tough. Calvin Austin was the leading receiver with no George Pickens, 5 for 65. Pat Freiermuth 3 for 22 and a touchdown. The TJ Watt 2 sacks, left with an injury. I haven't heard much about him. I don't know if he's going to play this week or not. That would be a humongous loss with Baltimore coming up. Mm-hmm. Humongous loss. That changes a lot with the Steelers defense. I still think they're going to be good, but that's not the opponent that you want to face with with the best defensive player in the NFL out.
Yeah, especially the one guy who could maybe apply some pressure to a guy like Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
He's a tough guy, though, so you never know. Maybe he'll play through it, but we'll see. The Steelers clinched a playoff spot, so they are in. Good for them. Anything else you want to talk about in regards to the Eagles that you saw?
No, I'm just proud of my boys. Obviously, the Saquon thing's a little worrying, but I think it's just load management, honestly, at this point. And then other than that, man, this defense just keeps impressing me every week. It's like they have these games where it looks like we're going to get scored on, and then it just stops in the second half. And it's amazing to see so consistently.
I would say that's maybe the Eagles can afford to rest Saquon for a game, but with the number 1 seed race being so hot, I don't think you really can. If he's healthy enough to go, I think you got to play him. And also the opponent coming up, Washington, you don't want to lose to them in a regular season game because right now you are the better team by a lot. And they couldn't do anything against you guys in Philadelphia. If you give them any hope in this game, you might have to play them again in 3 weeks. So snuff out that torch immediately. I think if you're the Eagles, play to win that game. They always do anyways, but play to win that game and try your best to not give Washington any hope. Because if they have any sort of belief in themselves, they could easily come into Philadelphia and upset you guys. I think you snuff them out now. That's probably a safe bet if you have to play them in first round.
Absolutely, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see going forward. I think Saquon's going to be fine, though.
I think he probably will be too. Yeah. Honestly, Gainwell looked decent when he was out there.
Yeah, no, he's been with
down passes.
Yeah, I've always loved Gainwell's talent. It's like he doesn't get out there much, but it's like he's one of those guys, kind of like Amir Abdullah, where they just make plays.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good comparison, actually.
Yeah.
Bills 48, Lions 42. A potential Super Bowl preview. Josh Allen.
This was a good game.
This was a really good game. He continues to show he's the MVP. 23 of 34, 362 and 2. Also had 2 rushing touchdowns. I still think I don't think anyone's catching up to him now. I really don't. I think he won it after the Snow Bowl and last game. I don't even think he needed to have another amazing fucking game on top of it.
But I know I don't okay, I'm not defending Lamar here, but on the other hand, we do have Lamar who just threw for 5 touchdowns in his game as well. Yeah, so it's tough, but I really do think you just have to give it to Allen this time.
I mean, Baltimore might not even win their division.
That's true.
I think this is Josh Allen's year for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
James Cook 14 for 105 and 2. I know you love to see that.
Yeah. No, I was very happy with that performance.
You needed that one. Ty Johnson only got 2 carries in this game, but caught 5 balls for 114 yards. I don't know if that's a thing now to watch out for like fantasy, but
I'm not touching that one again.
He was the leading receiver by a lot there.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid was 4 for 53, Shakir 6 for 39 and a touchdown. Ray Davis also got a receiving touchdown. For the Lions, Jared Goff went ballistic, 38 of 59, 494 yards and 5 touchdowns. Crazy stat. The Lions lost a game this year where Jared Goff throws 5 touchdowns, and they won a game this year when he threw 5 interceptions. Dan Campbell football, baby.
Yeah.
Never out of it, I guess. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 for 31 and a touchdown, but 5 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. And then some more big news here. David Montgomery, only 5 for 4 on the ground, 4 for 31 through the air. Suffered an MCL injury. He is out for the season. Torn MCL to be exact.
That
humongous
stinks.
loss for the Lions. Humongous loss. And not only on top of that, they also lost Ali McNeil, who tore his ACL in this game. Carlton Davis fractured his jaw. He's out 6 weeks. And also Khalil Dorsey fractured his leg and is out for the season.
Oh my goodness.
So the Lions were really hit hard in this game. And then on top of that, insult to injury, they lost the number 1 spot in the NFC. I mean, I think they might still have it.
They have it based on tiebreakers still, but it's not safe. Yeah.
But you're tied with the Eagles and the Vikings now when you had that game up on them. And I mean, honestly, the Lions looked unstoppable too until this week. So before we go any further, are you nervous about the Lions after 3 more defensive injuries and also an injury to
Monty,
a top 3 most important guy on their team, probably?
Yeah, I am worried because the Vikings look for real. The Eagles obviously look for real. The Packers are right behind the whole pack there, no pun intended. But yeah, man, this is just way too many injuries. I mean, if your defense is gonna bleed points like this in the playoffs, I don't think it's gonna be hard to win. But at least the Lions, they still have a great offense even with the loss of Monty. But man, I always stress the importance of a running back like Monty in the playoffs, just like that bruising runner who can move the chains when you need it most. I mean, all of it's going to affect the Lions somehow, some way in the postseason. And now I'm kind of nervous about them as my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, this is the first time where I'm starting to doubt the Lions a little bit come playoffs. This one just seems like the straw that broke the camel's back type of thing. Not even to mention the 3 defensive guys, too, that went down. Like McNeil's had a really good season. Carlton Davis is a good player. We've known that since Tampa Bay. I'm a little concerned. I'm not saying that's impossible for them to win the Super Bowl because, I mean, obviously you just give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs a million times. He's going to do great, too. But Monty was an important part of their offense, and that is going to hurt them big time in terms of, like, toughness. But they still have a chance. They still have Dan Campbell, still have Jared Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs is...
Jameson.
ARSB, Sam Laporta too. I think Sam Laporta might get like a little bit of a benefit with no Monty out, maybe a couple more short looks every once in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just hopeful thinking. But yeah, I still think the Lions are probably okay. But this is the first time where I've gone, oh shit, they might be actually in trouble now.
Just primarily because of the defense still. But man, if you just look at that offense, there's just so many good names. It's like Jared Goff could still throw 4 touchdowns at any given week.
Or maybe 5 even.
Mm-hmm.
ARSB, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 14 for 193 and a touchdown. Laporta 7 for 111. Good game for him. Jamison Williams 3 for 37 and a touchdown. Tim Patrick 4 for 30 and a touchdown. Nice little I don't know, resurrection for Tim Patrick.
Yeah, pretty good
on
pretty
him.
solid year.
Dan Skipper caught a 9-yard touchdown. That's the offensive lineman that went through that controversy in Dallas last year. So he finally got his touchdown. Good for him. But yeah, the Bills look for real. I mean, they got to be the Super Bowl favorite right now. I think it's either them or Philly. I mean, this was a statement win for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Because like, despite the score, this game was not actually close either. So it's like, this was definitely an impressive win by the Bills. And just one last point before we move on to, can we talk about the onside kick decision early in the game?
I mean, I don't know. What did you think about it?
I mean, it almost seemed like the Lions, once they got it going, their offense was almost scoring at will either. So I don't think I would have given the Bills a closer, shorter field at getting another score because they were scoring on you at will too. So, yeah, I don't.
So to me, it's like hindsight's always 20/20. Dan Campbell is the one guy where it's like,
if it works,
it's stupid to give him this pass, but it just is just what you signed up for. Like that's what we said after the 49er game last year too, in the NFC title game. It's like, this is what you signed up for. Sometimes it's going to go great for you, and sometimes it's going to go bad. If you don't like this, you don't like Dan Campbell as your head coach. This is just who he is. So I'm okay with it. Obviously, it didn't work out, but I'm fine with it. It just is what it is. I don't know. Just gotta kind of accept that type of play.
I guess, yeah. It's just I don't think I personally would have done it that early in the game.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah, but
I'm a coward though. So, and Dan Campbell's got balls of steals.
Yeah,
balls of steals. Broncos 31, Colts 13. The Horsey Bowl. Bo Nix 20 of 33, 130, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The Colts needed this one bad, and they didn't put up a fight at all, really. McLaughlin, the leading rusher, 7 for 21. I mean, Estime and Javonte got in there too. This is just a unpredictable backfield in the worst way possible. Cortland Sutton, 3 for 32 and a touchdown. So still kind of a down game for him, but still got a touchdown for his fantasy owner, so that's good. Troutman and Nate Atkins were the other receiving touchdowns. And then Anthony Richardson, 17 for 38, 172, 2 picks and a rushing touchdown. Just the most Anthony Richardson stat line ever.
We're so wrong.
Jonathan Taylor, 22 for 107. Could have had a touchdown, but Deshaun Jackson, the ball at the goal line.
Why do
people do that?
Why are we still doing this?
I mean, it's obviously just going to be a thing always, but it's like, I just don't understand how you don't see that happening to other players and am automatically just mortified of that happening to you. Like,
yeah.
My anxiety would not allow me to, like, I would hold on to that ball until the ref came over and got it from me, I think. I would just be so scared of, like, because you're just the clown for like weeks after this on like talk show radio and ESPN and shit like that. It's just poor Deshaun Jackson. He did it. That's the first time I'd ever seen it. So that's just the Deshaun Jackson thing now, but there's another one this week too. We'll get to that one later. Not as important as this one, but still. Pittman 6 for 58 was the leading receiver. He had a fumble as well. Then the Colts had one of the worst trick plays of all time. Did you see this?
I actually didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, so it was. Let me see if I can remember the details specifically.
Was that the Nick Bonito pick six?
Yes. So
I remember him getting the pick six. I didn't see the play though.
I think it was Anthony Richardson. Adonai Mitchell had the ball at some point. I think Anthony Richardson passed it to him. He ran it all the way over to the right side of the field. Then he passed it back over to Anthony Richardson, and Nick Bonito read it the entire way and just fucking grabbed it and just took off for the end zone.
Stupid. Yeah.
I mean, one of the dumbest plays you'll ever see.
That actually helped me win in fantasy too. Yeah, that helped me win in fantasy too.
Broncos D, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I leave off here? Patrick Surtain left the game with an injury, believed to be minor. He practiced in full today.
Okay.
They have a game on Thursday coming up, so I think Pat Surtain's going to be perfectly fine. We'll see about that. This is a good one for the Broncos. They needed this one. And then the Chargers shit the bed, too. We'll talk about them later. So now the Broncos are second in the AFC West, and they're playing each other this week. So the Broncos have a chance to take a 2-game lead for second place in the West, which would be huge. Two-game lead for the wild card over the Chargers, too. So that's a big game coming up. The Colts are, I would say, dead in the water. I don't know if they are mathematically, but like 6-8, dude.
Yeah.
And like they look so uninspiring most of the time. I don't see it in them this year.
No, I don't see it either.
Who would be the playoff spots right now? So Chargers are 7 seed right now, so they're full 2 games back of the Chargers. Same as the Dolphins and same as the Bengals too. So
yeah,
it might not be too exciting of a AFC wildcard race as compared to the NFC.
Well, here is an interesting stat line. I know it doesn't matter because Miami has a pretty low chance too, but they have the tiebreaker over Miami and Cincy if some weird stuff happens. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, let's move on. Oh, Knicks too. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 130 yards. It's just an odd stat lines everywhere.
It was a weird
here.
game, yeah.
Cardinals 30, Pats 17. Kyler Murray 23 of 30 for 224. James Conner went off 16 for 110 and 2. Trey McBride still without a touchdown, but had a nice game, 9 for 87. Kyler Murray did tweet out that he was going to get him the touchdown soon. So, I mean, you run out of time, Kyler. So it would be nice to get that done here eventually in the next couple of weeks. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 for 32. Drake May on the other side, 19 for 23, 202, a touchdown and a pick. Ramondre was 13 for 69, and Kendrick Bourne was the leading receiver for the Patriots, 3 for 44. To be honest, I didn't catch a lot of this game. So I don't really have much to talk about here. I know James Conner popped off. I would keep rolling with him if you got him in fantasy. I don't know who they play next, but I mean, he just has the ability to go for those games every single week. It would be hard for me to sit him right now.
Yeah, I just caught the bits and pieces. Sorry.
Carolina next. You have to play him against Carolina, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say I caught the bits and pieces on Red Zone, but it was just a normal like Patriots game. They look like crap in the first half, and then Drake May kind of pulls it together in the second half. But yeah, Cardinals were just so much better than this team. I think the Patriots, they had all those defensive injuries too in this game, so.
I saw Gerard Mayo threw his offensive coordinator under the bus a little bit in the press conference too. Kind of like they asked him why a play happened or whatever, and he's like, don't ask me or whatever, something like that. So something along those lines is like, well, that's not a good look. Wouldn't say I've been super impressed with Gerard Mayo as a head coach this year, but he's still got room to improve. I don't think he's gonna get fired or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But he's had chances.
Super impressive.
Yeah, he's had chances to win some games for sure this season, but just hasn't gotten it together.
The team does play tough for him, so I'll give them that. Like they're definitely not a good team, but they push teams to their limit sometimes, make them closer than they should be. So I guess that's a good thing. Drake May looks solid still. 19 for 23 is pretty good completion percentage. I know he had an interception, but
he's I'm kind of intrigued with Drake May. I hope they really do build around him in this offseason. I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots kind of make some drastic improvement.
Kyler Murray. So I like. On paper, not a bad game, 23 of 32, 24. Fantasy-wise, though, that's not good at all. Carolina next. Would you start Kyler in fantasy in a playoff matchup? I would be a little nervous, even with this was a good matchup. I know Carolina's probably the better matchup, but if you can't do fantasy numbers against New England, I mean...
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
I'd be a little afraid to.
He's one of those guys this season. I was pretty hyped about him this season, but it quickly died out, and I'm just not sure if he's that great at times. I'm just I know he's a great talent, but I'm just not sure if he's a consistent great talent.
I still like him, but yeah, he has the tendency, at least this season, to put up stinkers like this every once in a while. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I know James Conner probably just took over a lot of the role. Obviously, he scored the 2 touchdowns, but I don't know. I don't know. So in the one league I'm still in the playoffs, I have to choose between Jaden Daniels against the Eagles or Kyler Murray against the Panthers. And I'm like, I've been starting Jaden Daniels all year, honestly, but I remember how he played against the Eagles, and that was tough.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say Kyler's probably safer.
I don't know if he is safer, but it might be the smarter play.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is safer. If he put up 10 points against the Patriots, I don't know if you can say he's safer, but that's the decision I have to roll with this week, so wish me luck here.
Yeah.
Bucs 40, Chargers 17. This was just a tale of 2 halves for Los Angeles. I think they were winning at halftime. I want to say 17-13. I think I wrote this down here somewhere. Yeah, the Bucs outscored the Chargers 27-0 in the second half. So that means they were at halftime with a 17-13 lead, didn't score a single point in the second half. That's crazy, especially because Tampa's defense is really not that good, and they're full of injuries right now. So it's like you can't even take advantage of that. But then again, the Chargers' offense looks just completely one-dimensional right now.
Yeah, because they don't have a run game, and that's exactly what happened. The Buccaneers just made a great second half adjustment, started gearing towards defending the pass because that's all the Chargers can do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I mean, and now the game plan, I assume, is out for them because, look at the running backs. Gus Edwards 8 for 23 and Kamani Vidal 3 for 9. I mean, that's not going to get the job done.
Nope.
And like I said, Tampa's defense isn't even all that good. So if this is how it's going to go, the Chargers will probably still make the playoffs, like I said, because they don't have a lot of competition.
Will they?
I mean, they got a 2-game lead on everybody. So
yeah, but I mean, dude, that defense doesn't even look as dominant either these days.
I mean, I personally think sorry to spoil this. I think the Broncos are going to beat them on Thursday. I think they're going to kind of wipe the floor with them. I mean, if the Broncos know that you're going to be one-dimensional, they don't even have to really worry about the run game. They're just going to shut down the passing game. The Chargers might be in trouble on Thursday night. That's how I'm looking at it. Let's talk about this game for Tampa Bay. Baker goes crazy, 22 of 27, 288, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Bucky Irving with that back injury went 15 carries, 177 yards. I mean, Bucky Irving, dude, he is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Rashad White, 15 for 64, and then had a receiving touchdown, 2 catches, 17 yards. Mike Evans, 9 for 159 and 2. He needs to now average about 84 yards over the final 3 games.
It's going to happen.
That's so doable for him, dude. I think it's going to happen too. Jalen McMillan stepping up at the right time, 5 for 75 and a touchdown after having 2 touchdowns last week. Justin Herbert, 21 and 33, 195, 2 touchdowns and a pick. For the receivers for the Chargers, McConkey, 5 for 58, touchdown. Stone Smart, 5 for 50, Huge, 5 for 45, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Good for Tampa. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders right now. I mean, they've been fighting through injuries all season long. So the fact that they're looking good right now is a good thing. Get hot at the right time and see what you can do. I love seeing playoff Baker. Bucky Irving is a legit weapon. If they can keep him healthy, they can do something in the playoffs. I really think that they can. That defense, though. Go ahead.
I had a little fun stat here for Justin Herbert, too.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, that is correct. This is his first interception since week 2.
Wow. What a stat.
Yeah, okay. 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the year so far.
That I did not realize. I did not realize that he had like a streak like that.
Yeah, he's been pretty careful with the ball this season, yeah.
Where did I leave off here? We already talked about everything here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anything else that should we talk about? We talked about Mike Evans. I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah, Baker's a stud.
Bucky.
Yeah, Rashad White, I believe he had a fumble in this game too, so I think Bucky Irving, he's going to keep proving himself as the running back one. I think he's definitely startable.
My stinker prediction, unfortunately, came true with Cade Otton. He only had 2 catches in this game. I am worried about that moving forward. I just think with Mike Evans, he's just not as needed in the offense. He's still a good player, though, and Tampa Bay's got such a good offense that's like, I don't know how, like, what your better options would be, but he definitely is scaring me moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, as of right now, Tampa just controls their own destiny into the playoffs. They have the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. So, yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, so.
All right. Bengals 37, Titans 27. Kind of a goofy game as well. Joe Burrow 26 for 37, 271, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Chase Brown had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, went 25 for 97 on the ground, 3 for 16 through the air. Jamar Chase 9 for 94. Surprisingly, no touchdowns, though. Kind of weird for him. T. Higgins 5 for 88 and a touchdown, bounced back from his stinker last week. And then the Titans. Will Levis 8 for 12, 89 yards and 3 picks. Benched for Mason Rudolph, who went 21 of 26, 209, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. We'll talk about them here more in a second. Tony Pollard, 17 for 45 and a touchdown. He got hurt in this game. His status is still up in the air. We'll see. Tajay Spears, 4 for 5 and a touchdown on the ground, 6 for 87 and a touchdown through the air. The touchdown on the ground was cool, too. It kind of had like they reached over, basically. Yeah. Chicken Cockwell, 8 for 59. Josh Wiley had a touchdown, 5 for 37 for him. The Calvin Ridley was only 3 for 41. Sam Hubbard caught a touchdown in this game from Joe Burrow and then suffered a PCL injury. later on in the game. So he is now done for the season. So, I mean, one of the few playmakers on that defense is now gone. And according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, Will Levis is likely going to get benched this week. His quote in the tweet was, Mason Rudolph is the logical candidate to step in. So I don't know if that means the Titans are just beating around the bush. I don't even know who their other quarterback would be. I don't see how you wouldn't start Mason Rudolph. Like, he came in and was pretty solid. The interception wasn't great, but 21 for 26, 209 and 2. He just passes the eye test better than Will Levis.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you bring him in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only quarterback that's kind of shown any bright spots at all in navigating that offense.
When they brought him in, the Titans crowd started cheering like big time when they benched Will Levis.
Oh, dude, I'm sure they're so sick of his shit at this point.
I didn't look into this because it was just like internet clickbaity, internet fodder. But apparently, Will Levis's ex-girlfriend, the one from draft night, apparently she was at this game, and he struggled. 89 yards and 3 interceptions. I don't know if he knew that she was at this game, but
witchcraft.
Nice little fun time for her to join up on the Titans bandwagon, right? A little convenient timing. There you go. There's your TMZ moment of the week right there. This was the other game that had the Deshaun Jackson at the goal line. There was a Bengals player. I want to say it was Geno. No. I don't think it was Geno Stone. It was somebody. I can't remember who it was. Intercepted the ball. Or maybe it was a fumble, whatever it was a turnover, took it back to the house. And as he was crossing the goal line, he didn't even drop it. He went to basically just cover it up with both of his hands, and it just completely just fumbled it out of his hands. It's like, oh my God, dude. It doesn't really matter because the Bengals won by 10 points. And honestly, they were leading by more than this in the fourth quarter. But just something to know about. Bengals defense, I was afraid to play them. I played them in one of my playoff matchups this week. Did fantastic. They got me 21 points. Bengals D, baby. Shout out. They got a good matchup this week, too. They're playing the Browns, DTR. Jameis got benched. I don't know if you had heard about that. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit as well. Okay. Ravens 35, Giants 14. Lamar pops off. 21 of 25, 290 and 5 touchdowns. I think that's the second time this year he's thrown 5 touchdowns in a game. 65 rushing yards as well. Derrick Henry just completely scripted out of the game, basically 14 for 67. That's okay. The Ravens didn't need him. Rashad Bateman, 3 for 80 and 2. Rashad Bateman has turned into a very solid player this year. I think he always had it in him, but he's really showing that he can be a good receiver in this league. Justin Hill, 5 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. Zay Flowers, 6 for 53. Mark Andrews had a touchdown, 2 for 24. Devontae Walker had a 21-yard touchdown. And then the Giants quarterback situation. Tommy DeVito started the game with 10 of 13, 68 yards, got a concussion. Tim Boyle came in, 12 for 24, 123, a touchdown, and a pick for him. He was throwing the ball a lot to Malik Neighbors, though. So I'm like, I want some more Tim Boyle. I want Boyle time, baby. Let's get that water to a nice boil right there. I'm hoping he will start next week. We have no idea what's going to happen. There's still Drew Lock in the equation, too, apparently. Who knows? Singletary scored the lone touchdown on the ground. He went only 8 for 25. And Malik Neighbors, 10 for 82 and a touchdown. Like I said, most of that with Tim Boyle. So if you're a Malik Neighbors fan, or owner, I should say an owner, I mean, you've been waiting for this for a long time. Like, he actually had a really legitimately good game. I think he had 24 points in PPR. So, I mean, if he can help you try to win a fantasy championship, this would be great news because he's been AWOL not AWOL. He's been usable, but not like a wide receiver one since week 4 when he got injured in Thursday Night Football. So, are you a Boyle guy?
No, but for the sake of Malik Neighbors, yeah.
Good answer, Kai. I mean, what is there to say about this game? The Ravens are good. The Giants are bad.
Giants, please draft Cam Ward in the offseason.
Unless the Raiders want him and then draft Shadir Sanders. Draft whichever one the Raiders don't want. I'm fine with that. Currently, the Giants have the number 1 overall pick. It's basically percentage points with the Raiders, depending on strength of schedule, how it's going to eke out. So last week, even though both of them lost, it was the Raiders at the number 1 spot. The Giants now have the number 1 spot. So we'll just see. It's going to be a nice little seesaw battle here for the number 1 overall pick between the Giants and the Raiders. I'm hoping the Giants just fucking find a way to win one game. Just take it out of the hands of math, please, for the love of God. Okay, we're not a math podcast here. Commanders 20, Saints 19. Jaden Daniels, 25 of 31, 226, 2 touchdowns, 66 rushing yards. Fantastic day, fantasy-wise. Fantastic day.
Brian Robinson, even just good for him though too, because there was that like few week span where it looked like he kind of hit that rookie wall for a little bit. So this was refreshing to see.
Brian Robinson, my savior of the week, 21 for 65. Not fantastic there. Scary Terry, 7 for 73 and 2. I got a couple of fun Terry McLaurin stats for you too. So in the first 80 games of his career, Terry McLaurin only had 11 red zone touchdowns total. This season in 14 games, he has 9 red zone touchdowns. So there was a fun breakdown I saw of Jay Gruden of one of Terry McLaurin's touchdowns, and it was a sick play where Jaden Daniels went through his full progression and just threw like a perfect pass to Terry McLaurin. Jaden Daniels is a really impressive quarterback already.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Scary Terry, man. I mean, imagine if he had a good quarterback all of these years.
That poor guy's been suffering, dude. He's not like a diva at all or anything. He's just like a genuinely nice guy. I'm really happy for him. I hope this works out for them. The Saints lose on a failed 2-point attempt that would have won the game. There's also some controversy around that play too, because the referees like falsely blew the play dead after third down. It was like a completion. They got down to the goal line or whatever, and the Saints had to go spike the ball. They waved the clock off for a few seconds, then had it start rolling again. They spiked the ball. There's a good chance the Saints wouldn't even have had time for the touchdown if that would have happened. So let's say the Saints take that 2-point conversion and win. I mean, I feel like Washington fans would be fucking livid. Pissed. Yeah. So the NFL avoided a huge headache with this one because the refs fucked this up big time. Jake Haener got the start for the Saints, got benched though in the game. Haener went 4 for 10, 49 yards and a pick. The interception was horrible. It was one of the worst ones I've seen all week. Spencer Rattler came in 10 for 21, 135 yards on a touchdown. 10 for 21. You want that to be better, but he did look like the better option. So I expect him to be the starter rest of the season. Derek Carr does not sound like he's coming back at all. So I know they left that door open, but it sounds like his hand is not healing fast enough. So I don't think we see Derek Carr again. I think it probably should be the Spencer Rattler show the rest of the way. Kendre Miller got more carries than Alvin Kamara. Kamara did have an injury in this game, though. So Kendre went 9 for 46. Kamara, he had 4 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. On the touchdown, it was a sick play. It was like a one-handed over-the-shoulder play from Cedric Wilson, a wide receiver, threw it to him. But I think he got like an injury in that game. I think I wrote it down. Yeah, a groin abductor injury. Oof. He felt it on the touchdown. So, I mean, it would not be dumb for them just to shut him down the rest of the season. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I think it would probably be pretty smart. Get some Kendre Miller reps in, see what you have in him, because you haven't really seen much of him. And honestly, so far this year, it hasn't looked bad. He's looked usable.
And he's been healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think get him some touches, get his confidence up, and then just get into the offseason healthy. I think that's what I would do if I were New Orleans, but we'll see what they do. MVS only 2 for 64, kind of expected without Derek Carr. Kind of right back to what we expect out of him. Foster Moreau, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. Cameron Jordan, Chase Young, 2 sacks each. So, I mean, obviously, good win for the Commanders. It would have been a disaster if they would have lost to that 2-point conversion. This is a big one for them. And it kind of solidifies still that they're it's still strongly in the wild card race.
I was rooting for the Saints so hard in this one because if the Saints had beaten the Commanders, the Eagles would have locked up the division immediately.
I mean, I don't think you have anything to worry about. You have a 3-game lead.
It would have been nice.
3-game lead, and they're coming to town this week, so you can lock it up and beat them, or you're going to their town, I guess I should say. I wouldn't be too worried about that. Saints, they put up a nice fight. Spencer Rattler, Kendre Miller the rest of the way, I think. There you go. Jets 32, Jags 25. So Rodgers actually pretty solid in this game. 16 for 30, 289, 3 touchdowns. He also was the leading rusher, 45 yards for him. You never want a 40-year-old man with one Achilles to be your leading rusher, I would say, in a professional football game. But they won the game, so Breece Hall, 9 for 30 and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 9 for 198 and 2. That chemistry's starting to look good. It's starting to look like it's fully all the way back.
You know what I thought was crazy? Apparently that was his second highest receiving total in his career. I was like, really?
That's not too. I mean, 198's a lot.
I know it is, but it's like he's had so many good years over the years. I kind of just figured like he's at least had like more than a few in 200 range.
He had 135 receiving yards in the final 4 minutes of regulation alone. which is the most by any player in a game this century per
Jesus.
Rich Cimini of ESPN. 135 yards in the last 4 minutes. They're just peppering him, dude.
Yeah.
I would say they have the Rams next week. That's a pretty interesting matchup because the Rams are struggling right now on defense. I think you're playing them no matter what, but if you have Devontae, you got to roll with him. 9 for 198 and 2. Fucking hell. I know it's hard to trust Rodgers, but still, I think you got to do that.
It's funny with Rodgers, though, because like on paper, not a bad season. I mean, let me pull up his stats.
Didn't pass the eye test at all, though.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, he looks like shit at the end of the day, but it's just like, but like his stats, though, like 3,200 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 picks. Like, that's not bad. Yeah.
Not what you signed up for, but also, not as bad as what you had thought of.
But he does have a 53 QBR. So that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. Garrett Wilson actually was fine too, fantasy-wise. 3 for 56 and a touchdown. You'll take that. Mac Jones, honestly, didn't play bad. And he also had like a little bit of swagger out there. He was talking shit constantly, dude. He was out there like legitimately talking shit. I was like, what has gotten into Mac Jones? I know he did that a little bit in New England too, but it's like, you're a backup now, bud. On Jacksonville, are you sure about this? But he did good. 31 for 46, 294, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The running game was really just not abysmal, but just whatever. 14 for 65 for ETN, 11 for 42 for Tank Bigsby. It was really the Brian Thomas and Brenton Strange show. BTJ 10 for 105, 2 touchdowns, and Strange went 11 for 73 without Evan Ingram. Strange, interesting name in fantasy. I'm just going to say, if you need tight end help, that's an interesting name. I don't know if you want to trust the Jaguars or Mac Jones, but 11 catches for 73 yards. I mean, goddamn. I mean, tight end is so bare bones right now. I'm trying to pick him up in the league. I have Kate Otten in. I don't know if I have the balls to start Brenton Strange over Kate Otten, but I'm going to attempt to pick him up. I will report back later if I'm successful. It's a strange season, Kai. But yeah, if you're Brian Thomas owner, you're ecstatic about that. I had him in one playoff league, and then I was against him in one playoff league, and I won the one I had him in. I lost the one I didn't have him in. So I'm sure he won a lot of people some weeks this week.
Yeah, he might be quarterback proof a little bit. He's pretty talented. Yeah, he's really talented. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Where does he go in drafts next year? I think also second round.
Second round, really?
I think high second. Yeah,
it's gonna be very.
It's gonna be first.
No. I was thinking a little lower.
Oh, you still think lower?
I think it's a little tough to trust just because of T-Law. But I was just saying he could be quarterback proof. But I would say maybe like 4th round.
Hey, Drake London went in the second round this year with Kirk Cousins. We didn't know what was going to go on with that. I think Brian Thomas is a better player than him, and he's got at least he's got a nice connection with T-Law too. Like Trevor Lawrence had a bad season, but when he was throwing to Brian Thomas, he was able to get him the ball a lot.
I'll say 3rd round.
Okay. Honestly, like not a bad game. I would say it was actually pretty exciting. Yeah. A little bit of a shootout. A lot better than I thought a Jets Jaguars game would be.
Mm-hmm.
But really just a inconsequential game between two teams that are not making the playoffs. So Texans 20, Dolphins 12. Stroud, a little bit of a game manager stat line here. Let me read it to you. 18 for 26, 131, and 2 touchdowns. Where you're kind of like, okay, not good, but not bad per se. Mixon, a little worried about him. He looked rough. 12 for 23, 5 for 33 through the air. Got injured on another hip drop tackle, too. D'Amico Ryans says he's going to be fine. He was limited in practice today. They say it's because of rest. I don't know if I believe that. I think they might just be trying to silence the loudness of the injury. I'm a little worried about him. Obviously, he was injured initially from a hip drop tackle. I don't know if it's the same ankle or anything like that, but I'd be a little concerned about him. I'm not saying don't play him in fantasy because I think you got to dance with the guy that brought you. So if he's playing this week, I'm playing Joe Mixon, but I am definitely sweating a little bit. I don't. How about you?
Honestly, I think he's going to be fine. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. I mean, this was like the second bad game in the last 3 weeks that he's had. I mean, I want to look at their schedule first before I decide.
AC, Baltimore, and Tennessee.
Ooh. I mean,
Tennessee might not even matter in terms of fantasy because a lot of people don't play week 18. So Kansas City and Baltimore, that's 2 tough teams. It's in Kansas City and it's in Houston against Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, that's definitely a tough decision, but I like your statement. You kind of have to bring the guy that brought you to the dance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't like to do that with every single player, but I think of someone of Joe Mixon's caliber, it's like he's been so good for you all year.
I mean,
You're probably not in the position where you are without him. I think you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, the KC matchup's obviously bad. I don't think the Ravens one is that awful unless like the risk that can happen in the Ravens game is that he could get game scripted out. Like if the Ravens just blow out the Texans, then yeah, you're screwed.
Nico Collins, only 4 catches for 17 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, so all is forgiven. Good game from Nico Collins. Tua was bad, dude, real bad. 29 of 40, 196, a touchdown, 3 picks. Achane kind of just putting up a normal Achane numbers here. 12 for 41 on the ground, 7 for 35 through the air. Don't you want more from that? But like you'll take the 7 catches for sure. You assume he'll get more than 35 yards eventually here.
Yeah, I've been taking that all year as an Achane owner. I've been getting by with like I think his average fantasy points, I swear to God, I see it like the same thing every week. It's like 18 points, and it's all from catches.
Yeah, like 9 of them are just receptions alone. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the season I wanted, but I can't complain either, I guess.
It's been usable. Usable. Malik Washington, who I'm a big fan of, he was the leading receiver for Miami, 5 for 52. I'm wondering if we'll see more of him because Waddle got injured in this game, had 0 catches, and also they just cut Odell Beckham Jr. So Malik Washington, just someone to keep an eye on. Tyreek Hill went 2 for 36. Jonnu Smith continuing his great season, 9 for 48 and another touchdown. Waddle's day-to-day, by the way. I don't know if I said that or not. So we'll see if he plays this week. It is in question as of right now. The Texans win the AFC South with this victory, and also the Colts loss. So congratulations to them. We will see Houston in the playoffs. The most deserving team in that division for sure. So definitely not as impressive as we thought they were going to be this year, but they're definitely the best team in that division and definitely the most fun to watch in a playoff setting. So I'm happy about that. Miami, I mean, they needed this one against a Texans team that hasn't been looking amazing lately. They were the underdogs, but I think this was a winnable game. They needed to win this for playoff hopes. I honestly think all these 6 and 8 teams are dead. I know they're not mathematically out of the water, but I don't see them catching the Chargers, even with the Chargers struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, the Texans defense, man, pretty good unit when they really need to put it together. Like Derek Stingley, 2 interceptions. Guy's a stud, man. He's going to be a young stud for them for a while. But I still really love this Texans team. I know they're not like elite potential, but man, they are feisty.
They have a nice little young cornerback duo, him and Lassiter. That's a nice little duo for Houston. Okay. We got 2 more games to go here. Next up, Kansas City 21, Cleveland 7. Did not go our way here, Kai. Who could have thought it?
Right.
Pat Mahomes, 19 for 38, 159, and 2 touchdowns. And then this is another major talking point here. Diagnosed with a high ankle sprain, listed as week to week. Carson Wentz is the backup quarterback. Houston's coming into town this week. Do you think Mahomes plays?
Man, so this is another thing I was thinking about too. So I know
2 games up on Buffalo right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, and Buffalo's schedule really isn't that bad. Hold on. Should have had this pulled up already. My fault.
Is it crazy for me to say that the Chiefs could definitely beat the Texans with Carson Wentz?
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say that. I don't think Carson Wentz coming in would be that bad. Hell, I wouldn't even be shocked if we see some improvement in the offense.
Oh, baby.
I don't know if that's spicy. I'm just saying.
That's a little spicy. I like it though.
No, because it's like, I'm not going to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. He is this offense. He still makes it work at the end of the day, but he just has not looked that great this year. Maybe they need like some fresh juice in there. I think you could get away with starting Carson Wentz for 1 week. I mean, sure, if the Bills win next week, then they're 1 game back of you. But then, hopefully Mahomes is healed by then, which I think is the more important thing for the Chiefs is just get your quarterback healthy. Don't even risk it by throwing him out there. Just trusting Carson Wentz for 1 week. Let's see what happens if he loses, whatever.
Which, by the way, they have a 2-game lead in the AFC number 1 spot. Like I said, they don't need to have the number 1 spot to win the Super Bowl. They weren't the number 1 seed last season.
Yeah, but you still want it. You still want it no matter what.
You do, but they went into Baltimore in the AFC title game and won. Yeah. Like they can win any road game. You want Mahomes healthy. It does it's like the old thing with LeBron. It doesn't matter if I'm the 1 seed or the 4 seed or the 8 seed. You get me in the playoffs and watch the fuck out. It's the same thing with Mahomes. If he's the 6 seed, the 7 seed, you're still going to be fucking concerned about him no matter what.
Yeah. So I
think get him healthy, even if he misses 2 weeks. Get him healthy for the playoffs. Because that would be so stupid to rush him back out there and have him injure his knee even worse, or his ankle even worse.
I mean, also just in addition to, I mean, if you are playing the Texans next week and you do decide to sit Mahomes, you could definitely trust Carson Wentz and your defense to give CJ Stroud some struggles. Because, even then, the Texans offense, they're still not going to pressure you that much.
Dude, Stroud struggling. It's going to be in Kansas City. Mixon's like nursing an injury. It's like I think they would be. I think this week definitely you start Carson Wentz and then you take it week by week and see how Mahomes.
Just don't rush him back.
Yeah, and like let's say the Chiefs win this week, you still have at least a 2-game lead on Buffalo heading into the next week too. So yeah, I think that they should say him personally, but we'll see. If Mahomes is healthy enough to go, he'll definitely be playing. So Kareem Hunt had 45 yards. Pacheco had 32 yards. They each got 13 carries, so a little bit more even keeled this week as opposed to last week. So interesting to see that happen. Xavier Worthy, nice game out of him. 6 catches for 46 yards and 3 carries for 30 yards and a rushing touchdown. Hopkins and Kelsey were basically no-shows. Hopkins was 5 for 36. Kelsey was 4 for 27. Noah Gray and Juju had the receiving touchdowns. And let's talk about the Browns. Jameis went out there, 16 for 25, 146, 3 picks. He got benched. DTR came in relief, 4 for 9, 18 yards, and another interception on top of that one. They've already said that Jameis is done. He is benched. DTR is going to start next week.
Really?
So yeah, DTR is the starter next week.
But DTR looked like shit in this game.
He looked like shit in every fucking game he's played in. But yet they're going to bring him out there, which means goodbye Jerry Jeudy probably. Definitely goodbye Elijah Moore. Maybe goodbye David Njoku. Goodbye Cedric Tillman. Fantasy value. I think Judy's probably still playable, kind of like but I would personally. I think so little of DTR as a quarterback. I would not be playing Jerry Jeudy moving forward personally. But if someone were to, I wouldn't judge you for it because he's been so good.
Man,
I do think a lot of that's from Jameis specifically.
This is such a puzzling decision to me.
It almost smells like ownership potentially, like kind of like, oh, let's see what we have.
It kind of just feels like no one likes Jameis, even when he shows you that he can do it. Yeah.
And like even when he's throwing picks, players fight for him. They want to like play with him and play for him and stuff like that. You don't have that with DTR.
I
saw too that he has a worse interception rate than Jameis Winston in their careers. I know it's a lot smaller of a sample size, but like DTR is going to turn the ball over too. That's why I said the Bengals play them this week. I would still ride the Bengals defense in fantasy. And in fact, I'm going to. I'm going to start.
I think even more so now because I think Jameis could maybe light up the Bengals. Yeah.
Jameis could definitely light up the Bengals. I don't know if DTR's got it in him. Nick Chubb suffered a broken foot. He's out for the year. He went 9 for 41 in this game. That sucks
done.
For him.
He's so done.
Yeah. Jerome Ford, 7 for 84 and a touchdown, 2 catches for 20 yards. He's probably the pickup of the week waiver wire wise, I would say. I mean, he's going to be the starter moving forward for Cleveland. I know that's not the most impressive offense with DTR, but I still think that he's worth a look at. Jerry Jeudy, the only real receiver of note here. He went 11 for 108. And Njoku missed the game with an injury. Cedric Tillman's still out as well. So yeah, I guess I personally expect the Bengals to destroy the Browns. I know that's the thing is Burrow struggles against the Browns. I think that they're going to just destroy them next week with DTR in the lineup, but we'll see. I know DTR was like a fun story at the beginning of his career. It's like, oh, maybe this guy can shows a lot of talent and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not too excited about the Browns the rest of the season. Where when Jameis is in, I'm ecstatic to watch the Browns. Now it's like I don't even want to watch them anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Last game. Cowboys 30, Panthers 14. I mean, what am I like 0-4 when I pick the Panthers to win this season? I mean, I just cannot get them correct at all. I cannot read them. Cooper Rush had an actual good game, 18 for 29, 214 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rico Dowdle continues his strong run, 25 for 149. CD, 9 for 116 and a touchdown. Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert had the other 2 TDs for Cooper Rush. Parsons had 2 sacks. The Cowboys defense in total had 6 in this game. And then Bryce Young came back down to earth a little bit, 19 for 28, 219, a touchdown, 2 picks. Chuba was a non-factor. He only went 10 for 32, took him completely out of the game. Jalen Coker, the leading receiver for Carolina, 4 for 110 and a touchdown. Thielen was 5 for 51. And then it was announced that Trayvon Diggs will be out 8 months after undergoing surgery to repair an issue with some cartilage in his knee. So another injury for the Cowboys. Beat up as always, but honestly, good win for Dallas. I don't know if, I mean, this is like a useless win, I would say. but it's a good one. At least they showed some life.
Yeah.
Where are they sitting right now? Go ahead.
They're actually still in contention for the wild card, believe it or not.
I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah, it's not likely. Yeah. But
currently they are the 14th overall pick. So the Luther Burden III, Missouri wide receiver, is currently where Take-a-thon has them picking.
It's actually Luther Burden could be one of those guys that's like the sleeper best wide receiver in the class. Really? Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that name. I don't know him. But I
believe he plays for Mizzou.
Yeah, Mizzou.
Yeah.
So we'll see. 14th overall pick, definitely not like the pick that you want after this tough of a season for them. And this win obviously isn't going to help, but at the same time, at least they showed some fight, like I said. So I'm sure Jerry's happy.
No, I mean, they shouldn't be winning games because they were projected to take Ashton Jonty at 10 a few weeks ago, which I think feels...
Tankathon currently has him going the pick before them right now to the Bengals.
That would be... Yeah.
So, it would be funny if the Cowboys fucked this up and got a worse pick, though. Mm-hmm. Won a couple of bullshit games at the end. Who did they have playing coming up? Let's see here.
I know one of them's the Eagles.
They have the Bucs, Eagles, Commanders. So I think they go 0-3 there, honestly.
There we go.
Carolina. This doesn't change my opinion about Bryce Young. I still think he should be the starter next year.
Yeah, he's playing better. Just please improve the team around him. Jalen Coker, legit. I like that. That touchdown pass was nice too.
He's played well in the second half of the season. I kind of like him. And I know they have Adam Thielen still hanging around too, but Coker could be a player for them moving forward. Mm-hmm. I kind of like him. Okay. That's it for week 15. Let's get to Thursday night football and then 2 Saturday night football games too, or I guess Saturday morning footballs. Broncos 9-5, Chargers 8-6 in Los Angeles for Thursday night football. Practice report: Disley did not practice today. Herbert was limited. Jaleel McLaughlin limited. Riley Moss was limited, and Surtain practiced in full, like I said earlier. Dylan is picking the Chargers. I'm picking the Broncos. I just don't really see a whole lot of like inspiring play out of the Chargers right now. Like I said, the run game is just non-existent, which makes their offense one-dimensional. The Broncos defense is fantastic. If you have a one-dimensional offense going up against them, I don't think it's going to go out very well. The Broncos are coming off a nice win right now. The Chargers are coming off just a complete brutal beatdown. Give me Denver for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking Denver for all of those same exact reasons and the fact that the Chargers defense has not looked as dominant as they were to start the season.
Okay. This would be a big win for the Broncos, like we said before.
Yeah.
Give them a 2-game lead over the Chargers. Saturday football, Texans 9-5 at Kansas City 13-1. Mahomes' status still up in the air. Wentz would start, obviously, if he cannot go. Hollywood Brown has a chance to play, and Joe Mixon was limited in practice today with rest. I'm going Kansas City here. We already kind of talked about it, where we thought Carson Wentz could still come in and win a game. Like, Mahomes hasn't been impressive at all this year. He's been putting up Carson Wentz stat lines sometimes without the interceptions, even sometimes with the interceptions, and they still find a way to win every single week. I don't think this is going to be any different. I don't think Houston's playing enough for me to feel confident about them coming into Kansas City and just outright beating a backup quarterback. The Kansas City still has a great coaching staff. They have a great home field advantage. I'm taking the Chiefs with Carson Wentz or with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, same here for me. It's just the home field advantage, the defense, everything. It's just the Texans. I think they're going to run into a wall with this game. CJ Stroud's definitely is going to throw a few picks. I don't think Mixon's going to have a great game either. Team running backs just can't run on the Chiefs very effectively either. On top of everything, so. Yeah, as much as I hate to say, this is probably going to be another Chiefs win.
Dylan has Kansas City as well, so we're all on the Chiefs. Next up, Steelers, Ravens. Were you going to say something?
No.
Steelers, Ravens. Pickens didn't practice Tuesday. TJ Watt didn't practice Tuesday either. So we'll see about them. At this point, let's just assume they're both out this week.
Oh, then I'm picking the Ravens.
I'm picking the Ravens as well, and so is Dylan. I mean, if you don't want to, if you think TJ Watt or Pickens are going to play, you can assume differently. I personally don't. TJ Watt is the one I don't know about. I don't think Pickens plays this week. I don't know about TJ Watt.
I still kind of think the Ravens can win this game, whether Pickens plays or not, just because, I don't know. After what we saw last week, it's just the Steelers' offense is so inconsistent. Like, I know they played the Eagles' defense, one of the better defenses in the league. I just feel like This is another wonky divisional game, and I could see the Ravens coming out on top of this because I feel like their momentum's back as well.
Steelers won before, right? They won the first game. I'm pretty sure. Let me go back and check real quick. They beat them 18-16, November 17th. Yeah. I think if TJ Watt doesn't go, it's definitely going to be a big time.
That last game was in Pittsburgh too. So, and this time it's in Baltimore.
It's in Baltimore.
Yeah. So just going off of if either one or two of these guys don't play, and then just on top of what I said already too. Yeah. I think the Ravens should have this one in the bag. They're turning into the hot team again too. And at the perfect time, in my opinion. So I think they recognize that they need to win this game now.
All right, so you and I are on the Broncos, Dylan is on the Chargers, and then we're all on the Chiefs, and we're all on the Ravens. So that is it for us. As always, you can find us at Raging Takes everywhere on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You can email us ragingtakes@gmail.com. I'm at Montana Sauce on Twitter, and Kai is at RTP Kai. Dylan's at Such a Wise Fool. We'll see you on Saturday.